Hey, okay, I gotta do this. I've been talking a lot about the in-between and all the in-between, all of it, all the in-betweens. In the in-between, all of them. I was listening to some different speakers and doing some reading today. Philippians 4:19 is the one that all week long has been just boom, boom, boom. It's there, it's everywhere. I hear it, I see it everywhere. Liberally supply, God will liberally supply your every need. God will liberally, means a bunch, to the full, overflowing. I guess I have my tea. So way more than this, because it's not even near full. Liberally, fully supply your every need. All right, so that's been in my mind. And then I keep going back to the in-between. And so many of us have been talking about being in the in-between and how it feels and getting frustrated and the waiting and the patience. And I keep thinking about Moses. I'm gonna end up spilling this. So I'm thinking about Moses and the in-between and all the in-betweens. So I know. I gotta sit still and tell your story, Amy. So, okay, I just keep thinking about, here's Moses. He's got all these people behind him, following him. So Moses and the Israelites, and they finally decide to escape. And we've talked before about you don't know what you don't know, or you only know what you do know. And people that have been in bad situations, the Israelites, they only knew slavery. They only knew being enslaved. That's what they knew. And there is a straight, even though you want change, even though you want it to go away, even though you want to escape, it's what you know, and there's comfort in what we know. Even when it's not good for us, there is a comfort in what we know. Anyway, so they finally decide, yes, we're gonna escape, we're going. We're doing this. So here's Moses, all the Israelites behind him that are, not necessarily, they probably have a lot of fear going on, a lot of different feelings, a lot of different emotions, maybe not so secure or confident, not feeling so strong. So here they go. You got the soldiers behind you, coming after you, chasing you down. And they're going, yay, we're going, we got this, we're ahead of them, we're gonna make it. All of a sudden, there is the Red Sea. And I just see, and this is always the Amy version of a story, because I only know what I would do. So I see Moses, who, and they say slow to speak. People say he had a stutter. I just think of people that I know that I'm fast. I'm always, moving and going. And I just imagine him standing there. Okay, God, I want a staff in my hand. I want a staff in my hand. Okay, God, we're here. We're going. We're believing. I believe. I know we can get across this river. I don't know how. How are we gonna out? What's going? Because the soldiers are right here. Soldiers are right here. What are we supposed to do now, God? And God says, well, what do you have? I just love this. Maybe this is nothing to you guys, but man, this was huge to me today. What do you have? I have this rod. I have the staff. You have to imagine it's there. I have this rod. I have the staff in my hand. That's all I've got. I don't. What do you mean, God? What do you mean? What do I have? This is it. Use your staff. God will use what we have to get us through the in-between. What did Moses have? He had a staff in his hand. And what did he do? What God told him to do with what he had. And he reached out and touched that sea, and it parted. That sea was in between the Israelites, the soldiers, the Israelites, the sea, and the other side. That sea was in between the other side and the danger that was coming at him. And Moses didn't know what he had. He didn't know what he could humanly, physically do. He listened to God, though, and God said, what do you have? What do you have? He had a staff. That's all he had. Did what God told him to do. He touched that water. Red Sea parts. Israelites go across, and as they're crossing, that sea is closing up behind them. And they got through that in between and over to the other side. It was not their only in between, though, now was it? And that was my big thing. I don't know why I'm so excited about it. Because the in between, you're like, whew, yay, I got to the other side. Might not be all the way to the final other side. That was the first in between, one of many in betweens. And they spent all the years in the desert. And what did God do? He supplied every need. He made sure they were taken care of for the day, every day. And that was a big in between. But in between, running away or running toward freedom and getting to freedom, getting to the land of milk and honey, God took care of them. He supplied their needs each day. And that's where it's like you just have to trust. I know he's been telling me that a lot, Amy. Do you trust me? Amy, do you trust me? Do you really trust me? Because he supplied their needs each morning, each day. He made sure they had what they needed. And like all of us, many of them still grumbled and complained. And why is it taking so long? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And God took care of them in that in between. It still wasn't the final in between, now was it? Once they finally could see the promised land, then they have Jericho, Battle of Jericho. Did anybody ever watch VeggieTales? I always had those little peas marching around Jericho in my mind where there's like, keep marching, da-da-da-da-da-da. Anyway, if you didn't watch VeggieTales, I'm sure that was silly. So they get to their promised land and Great Wall, they're giants. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What do you have? What do you have? Well, myself. So God said, I want you walk around those walls for 7 days. Do what? You want me to do what? You want us to do what? Just walk? Have you seen that place? Have you seen those walls? Have you seen the giants on the other side of the walls? And you want us to walk around the walls? Well, what do you have? This is what I've got. This is what I have, okay? So God says, I want you to walk. Just walk. That's all. Just walk around those walls. So here they are, in the in-between. In the in-between, there's a desert behind them. There's a promised land ahead of them. There's a big wall in front of them with a lot of soldiers. They're walking and they're believing. And they're walking and they're believing. And they're walking and they're believing. And then God told them to shout and make noise and sing and shout, make a big hullabaloo. Because that's what they had. And that's what they could do. And that's what they did. And all of a sudden, poof, down come the walls. Joshua beat the Battle of Jericho. All right, I guess I've had too much caffeine today, if there's such a thing. And the walls came down. And the walls came tumbling down. And they were there. But you know what? Getting there were all the in-betweens. And after each in-between, there was a place. There was a safe place. There's a place in where I'm gonna start talking about joy. I'm like a place where they could still have joy. This joy is from deep down. Joy comes from the marrow of your bone out. It doesn't come from the outside in. Joy is a place. I had somebody tell me the other day, joy is a noun. It's a way of being. And even though they had to go through all the in-betweens, all the impossibles, all the variables, they did. And they used what they had. God used what they had, whatever it was that they had, no matter how small or insignificant it might have been, whatever they had, that's what God used. And they got across the Red Sea and away from the soldiers. And they got through that desert. And then when they did get to the other side and the ones that were allowed to go into the promised land, they got there. They used what they had, and they obeyed what God was telling them to do, and they got there through all the in-betweens, through every single in-between, all the in-betweens. There's a place of happiness. There's a place of peace on the other side of all the in-betweens until you get truly to the other side. And you can carry your joy with you through all the in-betweens, and especially let it out when you get to the other side of that in-between, and shout for joy and sing for joy and celebrate and be thankful. So much gratitude. All the in-betweens. That was it for today. All the in-betweens. God will supply fully every and all of your needs, even in the in-betweens. And he will definitely guide you and show you what to use. And he will use it even if you feel like you have nothing. What do I have, God? Well, he's going to ask you, what do you have? What do you have? Do you have a voice? Do you have strong hands? What is it that you have? God will use it, and he will use it to get you through those in-betweens and over to the other side. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I hope you enjoy that. It just was like this huge revelation. I'm not so happy that there's revelation that I have so many more in-betweens, but just it made me so happy, made me so darn happy to know. I do know he has all my needs. He fills all my needs to overflowing, and whatever it is that I have to use, God will use it to get me through those in-betweens. Have a great day, you guys. And hopefully somebody said, amen, sister.